Okay. I think that's recording now. Alright, so I just filmed like half an hour of a vlog of me complaining about people that piss me off in retail and just some stress going on. And usually what I do with videos is I make a video, not usually. Actually, I try to discipline myself where I try to keep the video length under a certain amount of time, and then I just upload it. I don't look back, and I just upload it. But every once in a while, I stop the video recording, and then something else comes to mind, and I'm like, I'm not gonna remake the video, or I'm not gonna upload 2 videos. So I thought about that, and I go, why not upload 2 videos? It's not like anyone really watches these things anyway, right? And this way they can digest the video into like half-hour chunks, because I can already tell it's like a minute long right now. It's gonna be half an hour. Get ready, buckle the fuck up. I was talking in the previous video, which is gonna be unlisted, so it's not even gonna get uploaded unless I share the link, which maybe I'll put it in the description of this one. But in the other video, I was talking about how I don't like the vlog format of summarizing my life since the last time I vlogged, because I usually keep this account as kind of like not like a therapy thing, where whenever I do get stressed, I talk into it. It gives me something to talk to, because for as many friends as I have, not all of them are available when I'm not, with work and stuff like that. The other day I got into not like even a discussion. It was like a set amount of text, but basically I do this. I'm in like this group chat with my friends, and they talk about, they always talk about making these plans, and they always talk about making these plans when I'm at work. And I know they don't do it on purpose, but it's kind of like, I don't need to hear about these plans. I wish you guys I wish I had a chance, or I had the ability to mute the group chat so I didn't have to hear it, because I don't need it. I don't need to be shown all the things that I'm not included in, because I have work, So I joke around usually, and I go like, thanks for the invite or whatever like that, right? And every single time that joke falls flat, because the sarcasm is not understood. So I live with it, and I just assume they're not gonna understand the sarcasm, and I'm just gonna take whatever shit they give me. But I guess they get tired of that shit too. So this time they're just like, whenever we do invite you to places you don't want to go, it's like, well, it's not like I do that on purpose. It's just me as a person. I like to plan my day in such a way that I don't want to make multiple outings. If I'm going somewhere, I want to be prepared for whatever that day has for me. And then if I have to go back and like do some other shit just to prepare for something else, that has to already be in the plans. Otherwise, if I have to make multiple trips to go somewhere, fuck it. I'm not gonna do that trip again. If I have to, what is it? There's a Walmart on the way back. If I forget something at Walmart, like if I need to go get something on my way home at Walmart and I forget it, fuck it. That's not happening today. Maybe tomorrow when I come home, because it wasn't in the plans for me to go home, get told that it's it's like, where is it, and I'm not gonna drive all the way back, because it's a bit of ways. Not a long drive, honestly, but it's like I don't feel like making that drive again. But I don't know. I'm not gonna begrudge them for making these plans without me, because honestly, if they did, then they would never ever hang out ever, because my work schedule is as such that I work almost all week, because I opened up my availability that way so that I can get more money. So I don't know. I'm just in a spot where I want to hang out with not every single one of my friends, but maybe just like 1 or 2 people, and like do something. But most of the time, those people aren't really, they're not really up for hanging out like alone. Usually, they usually only like to hang out in group settings. So I'm not gonna get anything with those people. So I'm not gonna even ask anymore, because I've asked so many other times, and every single time it's like no. they don't want to. So just skip the middleman and just go straight for it. Just go straight for the rejection and just go, nah, I'm just not even gonna bother asking you because already you're gonna tell me no. So it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. It's basically my thing. Like not gonna like not like angry at anyone. Not like no emotion at anyone. I'm just gonna say, yeah, screw it. Like if you're busy, go be busy because honestly, I'm not gonna hold anyone back, or I don't want to like guilt anyone into thinking that they have to stop their lives just so that I can get on with mine. Like that kind of codependency shouldn't exist between anyone that I'm acquainted with. So there's that. What was I saying? Oh, in the other video I talked about how again, yeah, I don't like the vlog format of summarizing your entire life because honestly, my entire life has just been work. I got a new car, so that frees up my schedule a bunch. Back then I used to just like borrow my mom's car, and it put serious limitations on when I could go and for how long, or where I could go and for how long. All of those things, honestly. But now that I have my own car, that can stay out with me for like all night. That's fun. I mean, I'm not gonna be like going out all the time, but because again, where would I go? I'm not gonna go somewhere all by myself. Honestly, I don't want to. So there's that. But I guess it's just I also talked about like the reason why I make these videos is because I am stressed out, and I'm not talking in particular how like usually the topic of the video has nothing to do with the reason why I'm stressed out, but I did say that it had something to do with the fact that people aren't generally around when I could use the support, or when they are, it's not the kind of, I don't know, like talking therapy doesn't really work as well as I hoped it would, honestly, or either that or it's not that easy, and I would say it's both, where people just aren't, people don't know what they should say at times like these, and again, I don't know what I would say at times like these either. If people come up to me and tell me why they're stressed, I don't know what I would say either. So I'm not gonna like begrudge anyone for not knowing what to say, but I will say that sometimes when I do need support, I need that support, but you don't get that all the time, and that's completely fair. So you try to find your own things, and that's kind of like what being an adult is. And I talked about that in the other video too, about how being an adult is just kind of, it's this sequence of, it's this sequence of finding out that you aren't actually taught what you're supposed to do as you're growing up. People just kind of wing it. There's not really a thing as being an adult. You just get to do less fun. You just get to do less fun things over time. Things change. Your environment changes. You think like like when you're a kid and you're like, school. I can't wait for school to be over. I can't wait till I don't have to go to school anymore. And then you're an adult, and part of you, some people, not everyone that I know, some people are like, I wish I could just go to school all the time. Then there are those people that have gone to school for so long for just the one thing that they just can't wait for school to be over as well. Those people are like going places, I feel. But for me, I mean, I have like a thing that I want to pursue, a thing I want to study, but at the same time, there's that comic that's like, every subject is this giant monster, and then you go to college and you think you're all alone, and then a bunch of other students come with you to defeat that monster, and the monster is just like calculus or something like that, and then you defeat the monster, you get your degree, and then suddenly everyone around you is gone, and you look around, there's no more monsters to fight, you're just alone, and then you're like, now what? Because that's what being an adult is, honestly. People don't tell you where to go after you beat the monster, and there's not just because you defeated that monster, just because you had that piece of paper, doesn't actually guarantee you going into whatever place that you want to. It sucks. But there's life gets a bit more complicated than that, over time. How like there's a bunch of games that come out that have like choice, like the dialogue trees, and like how they try to make it so that your decisions from the previous game go into the next game, and they try that, but you know, because people make such wildly different choices that you can't possibly cater to every single playthrough. There's so many choices in the first game, you know, you can't move all of those choices into the next game, and then, you know, now you have two games and you're trying to move it into a third game. You know, that's not gonna work. You're gonna have to select some choices that are more important than others for that to take effect. And that's kind of like life, honestly. The more you go on, the more things you say, the more complicated your relationships become. Uh, and even if you don't say anything, just life goes on around you in such a crazy manner that things get complicated, and, like, you know, some of the things you say end up not mattering as much. Things that you think would matter. And sometimes you get these choices that don't actually mean anything in the long run. You'll always just end up at the same exact place that you should be at the end of the game, you know, because making multiple endings for a game is hard. And why make assets that you're not gonna see, right? And again, that's a whole life metaphor, I guess. Relationships get complicated as you get old, and for some people, it's like all they think about, or some people that's like a forefront of whatever they're thinking of. And honestly, that's kind of where I'm at. Lord released her new album, Melodrama, and it's the first time I've ever listened to an album that I loved every single track, and I can't say that I relate to everything 100%. I can't relate to going out partying, and, you know, I can't relate to the kind of relationship that he has. I don't know. The kind of relationship that I had was, I talk about it with, like, reverence and stuff like that, but it's the past. It's over, and I don't find it as special as I used to. I mean, it's still special, and I think about my ex a lot. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think about how that relationship ended, how it could have been, you know, like, handled, just the way things are going. You know, my thought is always, you know, maybe if we talked about it a bit more, maybe we could find a better solution to this. Not saying that we would have gotten back together, but I'm saying, like, you know, like, there's always, you think, like, you're in the moment, you think you finally found a resolution, and then you sit in your car and you go home, and then, like, you leave, and then you're sitting there all by yourself, and you're thinking of all the things that you could have said. It's kind of like what happens to me after I upload a video, where I spend half an hour talking about something, thinking that I've said all that I needed to say, and then I hit stop, I hit upload, and then I sit down and I go, could have talked about this. So as I was uploading it, I saw the album cover of Melodrama, and I thought that I should talk about that and what that meant to me. And basically, there's, like, certain tracks in there that I don't relate to personally, but just from the lyrics that, you know, that that Lord is talking about. I relate to it on a spiritual level. I relate to things in, like, I don't know. There's, like, things that I relate to that I don't understand why I relate to it. Melodrama, I kind of understand it because she's talking about a breakup. That whole album, she's talking about a breakup and how it affected her, and how she's trying to move on, and how she's like, you know what, maybe I just need to be all by myself for now. So, but I also relate to things like 13 Reasons Why. And I know that's, like, a very polarizing show, but I relate to it on a level that's not very clear, or like not the main. No, it became the main focus of the show. Like, it should not have been the main focus of the show, I guess, but it kind of is. And it's the relationship and, like, the unrequited love kind of thing, but you know, but how much a person will take before they just decide, fuck it, I'm done, that kind of thing. I relate to that on a level that I was not personally suicidal, but there are, like, people around me that I've interacted with that I felt like clay in that moment, where this was my friend, you know, and I know this person, but ultimately, I mean, these aren't spoilers, because we all know that Hannah Baker's dead from, like, the minute that you start the show. So, like, clearly he messed up, and that's kind of what I felt. That's kind of what I feel. It's that feeling of understanding that, you know, maybe you did do everything you can, and maybe whatever decisions that they make now isn't personally about you, you know. In the other video that I made that's gonna go unlisted, I also talked about selfishness and how we view the world through this very very limited perspective of how we understand things. Just because we know something, we assume that other people know something, and that works vice versa, where if we don't know anything, then we assume people don't know what that thing is either. You know, it's kind of like all those moms that complained that Deadpool was an R-rated movie, or Deadpool was like not an R. Sorry, that was the whole controversy. Sorry, moms that brought their kids to watch a superhero movie called Deadpool, and thought that it was another one of those hero movies, and they didn't bother to look at the ratings. They didn't bother to look at the fucking title. They didn't bother to watch any of the trailers. That one trailer that Ryan Reynolds that put out that said like this is not a kids movie, you know. We view the world through this very limited perspective of our own understanding, and we think just because that you don't know what it means, we assume that other people don't want to know what it means, and therefore by informing the world of our findings, that we have made the world better, and therefore everyone should succumb to what we know and, like, you know, cater to our needs personally. And I talked a little bit about how that affects into retail, but I'm not gonna get into that. But I will say that I that kind of mentality is prevalent in everything that we do, because for the same reasons why we do things like that, like moms who post on Facebook about the rating of a movie called Deadpool, like it's a surprise. We think about our own actions and how our own how we presented ourselves to the world and how that will affect other people, and we think that because we have interacted with this one person in such a way that they're going to do all these horrible things, and you know, and because they do all these horrible things, that it's our own fault and our fault, and like solely. And we think that if we had done anything different, then maybe they wouldn't have ended up that way. I'm not talking about anything personal right now. I'm not talking about like I don't know anyone that committed suicide. If that's what the viewer of this video is thinking, it's not what I'm thinking about. It's just part of the controversy again of 13 Reasons Why, and why that show has gotten so much gaff over it, because I do think it's a good show. But do I think it needs a sequel that they're filming right now in my town? No, I don't think it needs a sequel, honestly. But I will say, I hope that it treats the continuity. I hope it treats the what is it, the source material with the proper respect and etiquette, because it is a good show if you look at it from a specific perspective that it could easily be twisted in such a way that people just assume that it's a bad thing, which I don't think it's a bad show. I think it actually succeeds in the story that it's trying to tell. I just wish that it told it a bit better. I will say that it could have told the story a bit better, but I will say people kind of blew it out of proportions as well. So that's what I'm going to close this video on. Just sometimes our decisions can lead to, you know, consequences, but that's not exactly our own fault. And sometimes we want things to happen that are beyond our own control. Basically, for as much as we think we are the hero of our own story, there's very little that we actually have control of, and that's something that we should just understand, because it's not going to change anytime soon, unless, I don't know. But whatever. I hope everyone has a positive day. Every time I say that, I come out knowing that because I made the video, I was not having a positive day. But I will say that by the end of these videos, I feel just a little bit better about myself. I will say that. I feel a little bit better about myself. And know that these videos aren't aimed at anyone specifically. If you feel that this video was aimed towards you, or you feel that someone that you know is feeling the same way about you, maybe talk to that person. Maybe try to, you know, try to understand that what that person's going through, and just kind of go, all right, you know. And I did mention some very specific things in this video that, you know, definitely are relating to people. And I will say that, yeah, that part was of you, but honestly, I'm over it. So, whatever. I'm not even gonna bother with it. So, that's that. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I hope I don't have to make another video in a month, because that just means that actually, you know what? I might not even have time to make the video. I'm gonna keep myself pretty busy over the next few months between work and rehearsal, because I'm doing another show. It's not a big show. It's not a actually. It's an okay show. It's a Shakespeare. I have a bit role in it, so that's not gonna put too much stress on me. You know, it's like 2 or 3 lines. It's free. So if people that I know want to watch it, we're doing 4 weeks of shows. Now, if you want to know, just let me know. But yeah. But I am trying to keep myself occupied in the meantime. So there's that. So, I had a very good ending a few minutes ago, and then I kept talking. So I'm just gonna hit stop on the video and hope that everyone understands why. Alright, bye.